and welcome to Physics Today with your host, Ryan Hassey.
Hello, welcome to our debate on alternative energy sources and their future in comparison with the development of coal power. Today we have with us some very special guests, Mr. Hunter Smith, private coal investor, Mr. John Watson, the CEO of the popular energy company Chevron, and Mr. Gerard Wilson, who is a private alternative energy investor. Mr. Wilson, you have previously stated in recent talks your desire to invest in alternative energy sources for the future. Can you give us some insight as to why you believe this investment is worthwhile?
As technology and interest in alternative energy develops, an interesting change is coming in the energy market. On one side, there's increasing stagnation in the coal market. The lack of resources has led to steeply increasing prices to build coal plants. On the other hand, there's more research and development now in the alternative energy market than ever. This has led to increasing efficiency and affordability in alternative energy. Because of this change in the energy market, I believe that it is not only worthwhile but necessary to consider alternative energy sources as the best option for the future.
Mr. Wilson clearly has a vision towards the future, with his focus on developing technologies in the alternative energy market and their impact on his desire to invest. Also with us today is Hunter Smith. He has repeatedly discussed his dissatisfaction with the recent move toward alternative energy sources, citing the positive benefits of coal-based energy in the present. Mr. Smith, could you tell us more about your opinions on the alternative energy market?
Clearly, coal now outweighs alternative energy sources in efficiency and cost. Coal costs much less than solar power at the present, being able to produce more energy at a lower cost. In addition, prices for alternative energy sources, such as wind turbines and nuclear plants, are still high compared to coal-based power plants. Overall, these factors come to make coal power a much more worthy option than nuclear sources in the present.
Now that we have two opposing opinions on development in alternative energy, let's get into the debate. First, our viewers have asked us to discuss the solar market. Mr. Watson, your company has recently moved from mostly fossil fuels to sources such as solar panels. Can you explain the motive of your switch and what brought you away from the market of fossil fuels?
There are lots of reasons why I switched to alternative energy. First of all, this alternative energy is a renewable source, unlike most sources of energy today, such as coal. Also, alternative energy efficiency is increasing and the cost to produce the energy is decreasing.
Are there any other reasons to switch to solar-based energy?
Indeed, there are, especially as a result of the increase in research and development in the solar market. The efficiency of solar power has improved to the point where it is now in competition with fossil fuels, such as coal. Although costs to produce energy are still high, the switch provides several other financial benefits. One of these involves the carbon tax, in effect in many countries around the world. This charges corporations for their emissions, and therefore a clean energy source such as solar power can help these companies save money.
But how do you expect these companies to make the switch when coal can sustain as efficient 3 to 5 times more efficient than solar power? In my opinion, until solar power is as efficient as coal and costs as much or even less, it is not reasonable to ask companies to make the switch to alternative energy sources such as solar power.
But I believe that the future for solar power is clear enough that many companies would be induced to make the switch. Costs of solar power are expected to fall by about 75% in the coming years, while efficiency is ever increasing. Due to this oncoming change, I think that solar power will become a very serious option for alternative energy in the near future.
Well, the development of solar power seems as if it will be very serious in the coming years. But is solar power the only source of alternative energy in development now?
Wind power is another alternative energy source in development now. It, like solar power, is decreasing greatly in cost. In recent years, the cost to produce wind energy has decreased by about 65%.
Wind power has natural disadvantages, such as wind turbines will only conduct energy if wind is blowing. Therefore, wind energy is not feasible in all areas.
However, governments such as that of the United States have taken advantages of wind power in areas where strong winds are prevalent, such as in North Texas and places miles offshore. This investment has led to increasing sustainability in these nations' energy markets.
But right now, coal is still less expensive to harness and more efficient than wind power. Turbines to produce large-scale amounts of energy are still expensive enough to steer some companies away. Therefore, I do not believe that wind power is the best choice.
Thank you for your opinions on wind power. I believe that our viewers now have a clear understanding of the source's positives and negatives. But now we'll move on to one of the most debated alternative energy sources in existence, the nuclear power plant. Mr. Wilson, why do you think there has been such concern over nuclear power?
In my opinion, all the negativity about nuclear power is undeserved. Right now, nuclear energy makes up for 15% of the world's power. This shows that although there have been some serious accidents with the source, it's still effective enough to supply the world with energy.
But aren't the negatives of nuclear power too serious to ignore? Accidents have occurred in the Far East, United States, and Europe. I don't think that nuclear power is safe enough source to invest in, and these serious accidents are a clear example of the risk. Besides, what is the benefit of nuclear power as opposed to coal?
Well, for one, nuclear power is not nearly as dangerous as suspected. Most accidents occur either because of human error or outdated plants. As research continues, old nuclear plants are replaced with more modern ones. These new plants are capable of much higher energy efficiency levels than coal or any other source. It is also not as harmful on the environment than coal.
Even though the efficiency of nuclear power are much higher, I think that the cost of the plants is too expensive to expect companies and countries to seriously consider them.
That's preposterous. It is true that nuclear plants are extremely expensive. However, in my opinion, this is money that can be made back quickly due to nuclear plants' high efficiency.
Well, I thank you all for being here. This has been eye-opening. With our time, we've learned about the positives and negatives of alternative energy. Our guests have addressed the potential of these sources, as well as their comparison to coal power. Due to this information, I believe that our listeners are now much more informed and can begin to make their own decisions on the alternative energy market in the future.
Be sure to tune in next week for our talk on nuclear fusion.